There is a specific coordinate in the middle of the Pacific Ocean that shouldn't make economic sense. If you look at a map of Honolulu on the outskirts of the city, you will find a concrete warehouse that generates more revenue than the entire global operations of some publicly traded corporations. This isn't just a store, it is a gravity well. This single Costco location is estimated to pull in nearly $500 million in annual sales. To put that into perspective, that is more cash flowing through a few dozen registers than the entire worldwide revenue of massive entities like Denny's or Smith & Wesson. But the sheer volume of money isn't the interesting part. The interesting part is what happens to the air around it. There's a silent, invisible force that radiates outward from every Costco warehouse, reshaping labor markets, destroying old economic assumptions, and gentrifying neighborhoods in a way that defies every rule of modern capitalism. We are told that big box retailers are the enemies of local communities. We have been conditioned to believe that when a corporate giant moves into town, small businesses die, wages plummet, and Main Street turns into a ghost town. Small business-eyed, economists even have a name for it: the Walmart effect. It is a phenomenon where the unassailable pricing power of a retail monopoly forces local competitors into bankruptcy and drags local wages down to the legal minimum. It is a story of extraction. But what happens when the giant doesn't act like a vampire? What happens when a corporation creates a localized economic boom that actually forces small businesses to become more profitable? To understand this paradox, we have to look at what happened when Costco dropped a warehouse into the middle of a Japanese rice paddy and accidentally broke an entire country's stagnating economy. In 2023, Costco opened its 851st location in Gunma Prefecture, about an hour's drive from the neon chaos of Tokyo. For decades, this region had been trapped in amber. It was a place of small farms, aging warehouses, and a quiet, stubborn economic stagnation. Japan, as a whole, has struggled with wage growth since the asset bubble burst in the 1990s. Local businesses in Gunma survived by keeping margins razor-thin and wages even thinner. It was a delicate ecosystem where nobody earned much, but nobody went out of business. Then, the Americans arrived. When Costco built their massive warehouse, they didn't just bring pallet-sized jars of mayonnaise. They brought a wage shock. In a region where the standard hourly pay for retail or farm work sat around the equivalent of $6.50, Costco posted job listings starting at $10 an hour. In the US, a $3 difference might seem negligible. In rural Japan, it was a seismic event. It was an immediate 50% raise for anyone willing to switch uniforms. The local labor market didn't just shift, it snapped. Local business owners were suddenly faced with an impossible choice: raise their wages to match the American giant or lose their entire workforce. Within 3 months of the warehouse opening, the average hourly wage offered by nearby businesses had spiked by nearly 40%. By all conventional economic logic, this should have been a death sentence for the mom-and-pop shops. If you force a struggling small business to pay 40% more for labor, they should go bankrupt. That is the standard narrative. But that is not what happened in Gunma. Instead of collapsing, the local economy expanded. This is the critical difference between the Walmart effect and the Costco effect. When a Walmart opens, it often cannibalizes the existing customer base. It sells the same things as the local grocer and the local hardware store, but cheaper. It extracts value. Costco, however, functions less like a store and more like a tourist destination. Because of the membership model and the bulk buy psychology, customers don't pop into Costco for a gallon of milk. They plan trips, they drive for an hour, they load up SUVs. The market research firm Numerator found that while Costco shoppers visit the store half as often as Walmart shoppers, they spend more than double per trip. This creates a gravitational pull. People from dense urban centers were suddenly driving out to the rice fields of Gunma, bringing their wallets with them. And once they had driven an hour to get there, they didn't just buy bulk paper towels and leave. They stopped at local gas stations. They ate at local restaurants. assuming they didn't want to fight the crowds for a $1.50 hot dog. They explored the area. The local businesses found that while their labor costs had gone up, their revenue had gone up even more. The influx of foot traffic from the Costco pilgrimage simulated a localized economic boom, but there is a darker question we have to answer. A publicly traded corporation does not raise wages out of the kindness of its heart. Costco is not a charity. It is a machine designed to maximize shareholder value. So why does it pay its workers so much? Why does it pay its workers so much? Why does it break the industry standard? The answer lies in the mathematics of loyalty. In the brutal world of big box retail, the average employee turnover rate, the churn, is around. That means if you hire 100 people in January, 60 of them will quit by December. Replacing those people is expensive. You have to advertise, interview, onboard, and train them, only to watch them walk out the door 6 months later. It is a leaky bucket that costs billions. Costco, however, boasts a turnover rate of just over 5%. By paying wages that are significantly higher than the market rate, they create a set of golden handcuffs. A Costco employee knows that they cannot leave their job and find equivalent pay anywhere else without getting a college degree or learning a trade. This allows Costco to retain institutional knowledge, reduce shrinkage, and operate their stores with hyper-efficiency. They aren't paying for labor, they are buying stability. It is a calculated arbitrage. They spend more on wages to spend less on chaos. This efficiency is what allows them to engage in a strange symbiosis with local businesses rather than destroying them. There is a misconception that Costco sells everything. It feels like they do because you can buy anything from a diamond ring to a casket. But in reality, a Costco warehouse only carries about 4,000 individual stock-keeping units, or SKUs. A Walmart supercenter carries over 100,000. An Amazon fulfillment center accesses millions. Costco doesn't want to sell you every type of toothpaste. They want to sell you one type of toothpaste in a 5-pack. This lack of variety is actually a lifeline for local commerce. It creates massive gaps in the market. A local grocery store can still thrive next to a Costco by selling the specific spices, niche brands, and small quantity items that the giant ignores. Furthermore, Costco inadvertently acts as a wholesale supplier for these small businesses. If you run a small cafe or a food truck, you likely cannot afford to negotiate bulk contracts with major industrial food distributors. But you can buy a membership. You can walk into Costco, buy 50 pounds of flour and 10 gallons of cooking oil at near wholesale prices, and use that to lower your own operating costs. In this way, Costco becomes a piece of public infrastructure for the local economy, blurring the line between a retailer and the utility provider. This brings us back to that warehouse in Honolulu. The reason it is the busiest location in the world isn't just because people in Hawaii love bulk goods. It's because the store has become a logistical linchpin for the entire island. Hawaii has some of the highest shipping costs on Earth. Almost everything has to be brought in by boat or plane. For a small business owner in Honolulu, trying to import goods independently is a nightmare of logistics and tariffs. Costco uses its massive scale to negotiate shipping rates that no small player could dream of, effectively subsidizing the cost of living and doing business on the island. It has become a centralized distribution hub, masquerading as a retail store. The high wages, the low prices, the chaotic parking lots. It is all part of a flywheel that generates wealth for the company by embedding itself into the very fabric of the local community. However, we must be careful not to anthropomorphize a balance sheet. Costco is not good, while other retailers are bad. They are simply playing a different game. Their code of ethics obey the law. Take care of members, take care of employees is not a moral stance. It is a balance. They have realized that in a subscription-based model, where the majority of their profit comes from membership fees rather than the markup on goods, reputation is their most valuable asset. If members feel good about shopping there, they renew. If they renew, the stock price goes up. It is a loop of positive reinforcement that aligns the incentives of the worker, the shopper, and the shareholder. But this model is an anomaly. It stands in stark contrast to the dominant philosophy of modern retail, which emphasizes lean staffing, just-in-time logistics, and the relentless squeezing of labor costs. There is another company that took the opposite path, a company that prioritized ubiquity over quality, low wages over retention, and ruthless expansion over stability. They became the most powerful private employer in the world, but at a terrible cost to their reputation and the communities they touched. To understand why Costco's model is so rare, we have to understand the machine that was built to destroy it. We have to look at the empire of Walmart.